what's popping, y'all? The more that keeps coming out about this Kai Cenat rollout for his clothing design, the more, I wouldn't say I get rubbed the wrong way, but the more I'm like, come on, man, you're doing too much now. And we're going to work backwards. So the most recent part of this is this video clip that I'm going to play for you guys right now.
This is break.
So as you guys just saw, this is Kai Cenat messing with a sewing machine that broke. And this whole thing is for him releasing his clothing brand, Vive. I don't even know what it is or how it's pronounced. But I said, and I quoted this tweet right before, you ever just tweet something before bed, knock out, and I wake up and this thing like turned into a banger, which is surprising. But I said, this is exactly what performative looks like. And performative is one of my favorite words that has, gotten into the like popular lexicon of the past year. And I want to make a clear distinction between performative and LARP, because LARP is like live action role playing. So a LARP is a performance, but performative is not necessarily LARP. And here's the difference. So LARP is like, let's say somebody is dressing up as like a gangster, right? And playing this role. However, they are not that. They're not even close to that. Or another example of LARP is these guys that just hold these guns, like kind of like you see these conservatives and they're like, yeah, we're protecting our whatever country. Meanwhile, man, a drone comes upside your head, it's a wrap. So that's kind of or people that get into like this military training, but they were never in the army or military or anything. Like that's a LARP. Performative is what Kai Cenat is putting on. And I do kind of like performative in what Kai Cenat is doing, because I think it started off authentic. Because first, this is the clip that I'm going to play for you guys right now, is the reading clip.
Honestly, the reason why I started reading was because I didn't like the way I spoke. To be honest, I wanted to articulate myself better, and I noticed when I got into arguments and I had to get a point across, people were not taking me serious at all at serious moments, and I would have anxiety build up, and then I would start over my words and I not know what happened. So hopefully me reading, and I also have been writing as well, helps improve the way I articulate myself. Also, another reason why I want to read more, because I feel like as I am making my venture into clothing, I feel like when people have to ask me questions about the garments that I end up releasing, I should be able to articulate myself perfectly and explain what is going on and my thought process behind each garment and the inspiration. So yeah, that's really why. I don't know if it's going to work. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
So here, I think this was true for Kai Cenat, and I do think this is why he started reading. And this is also something that Aiden Ross suffered from, not the lack of reading, but being taken seriously for different reasons. Like a lot of the time, if you guys recall several years ago when Aiden Ross would get upset, even now, if he gets angry, people can't tell, and they don't take him seriously when he's angry, which I think has caused Aiden Ross some frustrations. But Aiden Ross is just so powerful now that he can make stuff happen. And Sneeko would react to Kai Cenat reading in this clip, and this is where I'm starting to talk about this being performative.
Trust yourself. You start to believe you can.
I love this, man. I'm loving Kai Cenat. I love this because he was getting a backlash when he talked about this book a couple weeks ago before people found this video. Not only did he not respond because he didn't care because he was really doing it for himself, but they were calling it performative. They were saying he was doing this for approval. They were saying that this is all a grift and it was a lie. He is trying to elevate himself. He's trying to ascend. And you could see here, that has nothing to do with performance. He was just doing this to try to be better for the right reasons. And specifically, people are going to get upset. The pushback was from the black community. saying it's performative, saying he's trying to get acceptance. Black people were saying, "Oh man, look at him! Why are you trying to learn these words and shit?" Obviously, Rakai's not representative of the whole black community, but a lot of people in the black community were saying, "Look at him trying to tear down." And I think that shows a real problem in the black community that people do not address. A lot of the problems, what's preventing from ascending is from within. People saying, "Oh, you talk white now. Why are you trying to talk white? Why are you trying to read these books? Why are you doing all that shit? Reading? Go to the club. Go to the club." It's not encouraged. It's not encouraged because they tear you down and say you're not part of the culture anymore. So for him to ignore that, and speak properly, even though people are going to say he's speaking white, it shows a real sense of wanting to improve. And I love to see that. And it's going to inspire a lot of people.
So here, yeah, there's documenting, but there's also like, dog, are you really going to be stuttering and looking up words on a video? What are we doing here? And the discovery of this channel, Kai's Mind, is the performance. So, oh, dude, did you guys know that Kai Cenat, he's been secretly recording and uploading vlogs on this second channel that nobody knows about? And somehow every single page posts about it on the same day. I'll tell you what happened. One of the people on Kai Cenat's team, they said, "Oh, yo, this is Kai's channel." One page posts it. Everyone else posts it because he's just such a famous figure. And then it spreads and people are like, "Oh, damn, dude, he's been, in the cut working on this thing." Meanwhile, it's part of the rollout. The rollout and the performance is like, "Hey guys, this is what I'm doing." And he's trying to, it's not force it. And I do think it's a little bit of, there's some genius to it because it's a mix of actual improvements that he's making, but also tied into a script. So it's like loosely scripted. I wouldn't necessarily call it improv, but the fact that he's sewing is really what irritated me. Like, there's another clip that I'm going to play for you guys where he's just walking into some fashion show. So here I was looking at this like, yo, this feels like the fashion version of Doechii. And a bunch of people didn't get what I meant. And frankly, I don't really care. Like, this ended up banging on X. And I'm not going to sit there and explain myself to random people on X. Am I a lunatic? Not in that regard. That's for sure. This right here is where I explain my takes. Because people here are actually no. I got really reasonable people. For some reason, I don't get these kooks and loonies in other people's comment sections. I don't know how. But what I'm saying is that it feels like there is more excitement about Kai Cenat and his journey into fashion than there really is. The truth is, there is no excitement from actual adults or people that are not super hardcore fans of Kai Cenat who are under the age of 15. So that's what I meant by Doechii. It's almost like, you guys remember when Doechii was in Paris or France, or well, Paris isn't France, but she was in some sort of city in Europe. I don't know if it was Italy or France, but I think it was Paris. And then they're saying she was getting swarmed. Like, come on, dog. You're telling Doechii could walk down LA at that same time and she wouldn't get swarmed by the amount of people that she was getting swarmed by in Paris. But that's what I'm talking about with this Kai Cenat thing. And one comment that A$AP Rocky made that really reveals what he thinks about it and also what I think about it. I'm going to play that for you guys right now.
Yo, he's trying to get into the fashion game.
I told little bro, come holler at me, man.
Really?
Yeah.
He looks like he's at the point where he's learned the fundamentals, but he's also kind of like, he's definitely wide-eyed in trying to figure out everything because he humbly let people know he doesn't know much about maybe some of the processes and stuff like that. But
yeah.
What advice would you have for him on what to do, where to go? Like, he's trying to also drop his own brand. Like,
I understand. My advice for young Kai is this, right? Like, it's almost like, don't let us see the Picasso before it's finished. Like, when the world knew Lil Wayne was working on his skating skills, it's like we looking through the process and they gonna judge you off the process, bro. Step back, perfect the craft, then pop out. There's nothing wrong with being vulnerable and admitting that you, being humble about it, that you still wanting to learn. There's nothing wrong with being a student. But like, don't let us see the unfinished painting.
Yeah, they be hating when they see the process. They be like, sometimes, I heard someone say that too, it's like, soon as they look behind the curtains and see the kitchen, now it tastes good.
You feel what I'm saying?
Like, yo,
Come on.
And this is something that Kai Cenat is going to have to learn. And Kai Cenat is a content creator first and foremost. This guy's been creating content for, a decade of his life? He's 23, 24 now? I don't know. It's been since at least he was 10, 11 years old. So that's what he's always thinking. But A$AP Rocky's telling him, like, dog, we just want the finished product. Like, nobody wants to see you learn how to sew. And this is why I said it was performative. Because if you're a Kai Cenat, one of the lowest ROI things you could possibly be doing is sewing. Why are you sewing? What are you? This is like somebody wants to create a shoe. Like, for example, Ye, right? Ye has succeeded in fashion. Ian Connor is another example of somebody that's succeeded in fashion. It took him a long time to roll out his own product, but we didn't see an Ian Connor or a Ye on a sewing machine with the thing breaking, because they know, dude, we've got people that do this. They do the sewing. You're just the leader. It's like DJ Khaled, right? DJ Khaled was at one point a beat maker. But how performative would it feel for you if DJ Khaled is right there on the keys, right? Like learning how to produce, which is, I guess it's a bit different than Kai Cenat, because Kai Cenat didn't start off learning how to sew or knew how to sew and then he's going back to it. But you guys get my drift. You're looking at it like, Khaled, please get off of the keys and let whoever does that. Put John Legend on there, put somebody else that we know as a producer, and you're leading the charge. You're the executive producer. You're telling people what to do. And a lot of people that used to be beat makers, they would eventually just graduate into executive producers, and they're not really touching the beats like that. They're just directing the other people to do it. But with Kai Cenat, he's trying to show us he's like sewing. Dog, what are you doing sewing? You're supposed to be the designer. You're supposed to be the brains behind the operation. You're supposed to be the marketer, which you are doing great marketing for your brand. But this is where it starts to rub me the wrong way. It's like, dog, okay, like the performance is going on too much. Like if I saw a Kai Cenat with a bunch of pieces of paper of sketches on the wall and there are people sewing and he's telling them like, hey, look, I need this cut here. I need this, I don't know, stitched in this direction. I need the bottom of the shirt to come up to here. Then I'm like, okay, all right, we're being led into the process. This is not the process. The process of Vivette is not Kai Cenat sewing 5,000 plus pieces, unless it's going to be something ultra exclusive. But that wouldn't allow it to scale to the amount of effort that Kai Cenat is putting in. So if Kai Cenat's selling 500 pieces, that's going to make a grand total of nothing. Even if each piece is $500, that's like what, 50,000? No, 25,000? 500 pieces for 500. Yeah, about there. Unless my math is off, which somebody would let me know if that's the case. 25,000 is a big nothing burger for a Kai Cenat. So he's going to want something that scales, and for that, you're going to have a factory, which you're not going to be one of the hundreds of ladies that are sewing in that factory. It's just not. And that's why I think this is where it goes too far. And probably why that tweet resonated, because they're like, come on, Kai Cenat, you're not freaking sewing. Like when Ye was working on his shoe, whether it was the Yeezy 1, whether it was the Yeezy 350 with Adidas, whether it was the collaboration with LV that preceded all of those, we didn't see him sewing together pieces of a shoe. And we didn't expect to see that. And honestly, if he was doing that, we'd be like, what the hell's going on? Even when he was interning, like he's learning, he's not doing the base process. This is as if we saw Kai Cenat editing a video. Or, yeah, it's like, what was Kai Cenat doing editing a video? You haven't edited in a video in who knows how long. And then we have to contrast that with maybe like a Tory Lanez or a 6ix9ine who actually do edit all of their music videos. And that's a bit different because they are trying to get a specific vision that they have artistically, and they have the tools in their hands to do that. With clothes, you can just design it a certain way and write enough measurements, and it's clear that another person can do it. Whereas with something more of a creative vision, and that's a little bit more nuanced, like video editing and things like that, it's harder to get across. And for somebody like a 6ix9ine or a Tory Lanez, they're probably like, all right, and me explaining it and telling someone how to do it and going back and forth is going to take longer than me just editing it myself. So that's the distinction that I want to make there. I am enjoying this like rollout by Kai Cenat, but we got to make this a little bit more realistic. Like, come on now. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.